There's a moment that sneaks up on you, quietly, like the fading light of late afternoon. You pick up the phone, wondering if they'll call today. You scroll through photos, remembering when they were small enough to fit in your arms. And you ask yourself, when did we grow so far apart? Maybe it was subtle. A missed birthday call. An awkward silence at dinner. Or that deep ache that comes from feeling invisible in the life of someone you helped bring into the world. This isn't about blame. It's not about what they did, or what you failed to do. It's about something deeper. Something we rarely talk about once the kids are grown. How do we rebuild respect when it feels like we've lost it? How do we connect, not as parents who know better, but as human beings who are still learning? In today's video, we're not going to lecture. We're going to explore, through stories, through insight, and a little wisdom borrowed from Buddhist thought. 7 gentle transformations that can help you find your way back to the heart of your adult child. Not by trying harder, but by seeing clearer, loving wiser, and letting go with grace. So wherever you are in your journey, as a mother, a father, a grandparent, this is for you. 1. Stop fixing, start listening, the power of silent presence. When Sarah's 26-year-old son, David, lost his job, she did what any loving mother might do. She sent him job listings. Offered to update his resume. Even suggested he move back home. But instead of gratitude, David pulled away. He stopped replying to her texts. Their weekly calls faded into silence. Sarah was heartbroken. I just wanted to help, she told me, her voice trembling. And yet, in trying to fix everything, Sarah missed what David actually needed most. A quiet witness, not a project manager. We live in a culture that glorifies solving problems. As parents, especially, we're wired to jump in, patch it up, make it better, give advice. But when our children become adults, what they often crave is not direction. It's dignity. To be seen, heard, and trusted with their own mess. Think about the last time your child confided in you. Did you truly listen? Or were you silently preparing your response? Did you ask what they needed from you, or assume you already knew? Sometimes, the most healing thing we can offer isn't wisdom. It's presence. Noticing the tremble in their voice, the pause between words. And simply saying, "That sounds hard. I'm here if you want to talk more." In Buddhist practice, there is a concept called compassionate listening. It's not about fixing the other person. It's about letting go of the ego that says, "I know what's best," and instead sitting with them in their suffering. Like the Buddha under the Bodhi tree, not preaching, just witnessing, fully awake. When you stop fixing, and start truly listening, you give your child the gift of being seen as they are, not who you want them to be. And in that space, respect begins to return, not through force, but through trust. So how do we create that space of trust? It begins with letting go of control, and rediscovering what it means to truly respect their path. 2. Give without attachment. Love is not a transaction. A few years ago, Mark helped his daughter, Ellie, with a down payment for her first apartment. He was proud, excited, even told his friends, "She'll always know I'm there for her." But when Ellie made life choices he disagreed with, turning down a promotion, dating someone he didn't like, Mark felt betrayed. "After everything I've done," he said, "is this the thanks I get?" What Mark didn't realize was this. True giving ends where expectation begins. In our hearts, we often believe love is unconditional, but in our actions, it's easy to slip into trade. I gave you this, so you owe me that. I sacrificed, so you should listen. I was there for you, so why aren't you here for me? We may not say it out loud, but the energy speaks for itself. And when love feels like a ledger, the relationship starts to feel like a debt. In Buddhist philosophy, there's a word for this kind of attachment, upadana. It's the clinging that turns generosity into control. But there's a deeper kind of love, the kind that gives and lets go. Not because we don't care, but because we trust. Like offering a bird a perch on your hand, and not holding its wings when it's ready to fly. Think about it, have you ever given something to your adult child, only to feel hurt when they didn't respond the way you hoped? The pain isn't from the gift. It's from the invisible string we tied to it. But when we learn to give from an open heart, without needing to be repaid, something shifts. The relationship softens. Love feels lighter. And respect flows back, not out of guilt, but from freedom. Real love says, this is for you, not so you'll love me back, but because I already do. When your child feels that kind of love, they stop pulling away. They come closer, not out of obligation, but out of choice. And part of loving without attachment is letting go of who we think they should be. That's where the real freedom begins. 3. Build a life they want to be part of. Sandra used to sit by the phone every Sunday afternoon, waiting for her son to call. She'd cleaned the house, made his favorite stew, even left his old room just the way he liked it. But week after week, no call, no visit. One day, her friend gently asked, "What do you do for yourself, Sandra?" "For joy." Sandra blinked. She hadn't thought about that in years. Here's the truth many parents overlook. Sometimes, adult children don't drift away because they don't care. They drift away because there's nothing pulling them back in. Not love, love is still there. But aliveness. Joy. Inspiration. The energy that makes someone think, I want to be around that. Let's flip the question. Instead of asking, why don't they call me, try asking, what kind of life am I living? Would I want to visit me? That may sound harsh, but it's freeing. Because it puts the power back in your hands. Think of people who draw others in without trying. They're not begging for attention, they're lit up from the inside. They're creating, laughing, exploring, growing. Being around them feels good, not out of duty, but because life is happening around them. That's magnetic. And your adult children? They feel it too. Back to Sandra. She started gardening again. Joined a book club. Took weekend painting classes. And slowly, something shifted. Her son started calling. Sometimes he'd just say, "What are you up to, Mom?" And for once, she had something beautiful to say. You don't have to chase their attention. You can become someone they're naturally drawn to. When you build a life that inspires you, it becomes a life others want to step into, not out of pity, but out of curiosity and joy. And as you grow your own light, part of the journey is making peace with their path, even when it looks nothing like yours. 4. Set boundaries, not barriers. When Tom's daughter moved back home after college, he was thrilled. He pictured late-night chats, shared meals, maybe even morning walks like they used to. But the reality? She stayed in her room most of the time, headphones on, barely speaking. One night, after yet another cold dinner left untouched, Tom snapped. "This isn't a hotel, you know." She looked up, startled. "I just need space, Dad. You don't have to manage me." Here's the thing. When boundaries are missing, resentment builds. But when rules become rigid walls, connection suffers. It's a delicate dance, between protecting your peace and honoring theirs. Let's clarify something important. A boundary says, here's what I need to feel safe and respected. A barrier says, you're wrong, and I'm shutting you out. Boundaries are built on self-awareness. Barriers are built on fear. And often, we put up barriers when we feel ignored, hurt, or out of control, especially with our kids. But control never truly heals. Respect does. Back to Tom. After a lot of soul-searching, and a nudge from a therapist, he sat his daughter down. No lectures, no guilt. Just this. I love you. I know you need space. I do too. I'd love to share one meal a week together. Just that. The rest is yours. She agreed. And over time, those quiet dinners became their rhythm again. Boundaries protect relationships. Barriers protect wounds. When you share what you need without demanding what they can't give, you create a space where love can breathe again. And in that space of love and clarity, comes the hardest lesson of all, letting go, not with bitterness, but with faith. 5. Release emotional dependency, heal your inner child. Elaine had always been the strong one in the family, 2 jobs, single mom, 3 kids through college. But now, in her 60s, she found herself sitting alone in a quiet house, phone in hand, checking, again, if any of them had called. When they didn't, a familiar ache rose up. Did I do something wrong? Why don't they need me anymore? She didn't say it out loud. But she felt it. Deeply. Here's the truth that's hard to admit. Sometimes what we call love is really emotional dependency in disguise. When we rely on our children to meet the emotional needs we never learned to meet ourselves, affection, validation, purpose, we unknowingly place a burden on them they never asked for. This isn't about blame. It's about healing. Let's pause here. Emotional dependency often stems from our inner child, the part of us that still carries unmet needs from long ago. The need to be seen. To feel worthy. To be told, you're enough, just as you are. And when we haven't met those needs within ourselves, we may try to meet them through our kids. Praise becomes a lifeline. Connection becomes proof that we matter. Back to Elaine. After months of feeling hollow, she joined a local meditation group. Not because she knew what she was looking for, but because she was tired of feeling lost. It was there, during a simple practice of mindful breathing, that something shifted. The teacher said, "Offer yourself the kindness you so freely give to others. Let the child in you feel safe, finally." She wept. And from then on, something softened. Instead of waiting for the phone to ring, she started gardening again. Volunteering. Calling friends just to chat, not to vent. Her kids noticed. And they started calling more, not out of guilt, but out of genuine warmth. When you heal the child within, you release your children from carrying your emotional past. True love says, "I'm okay even when you're not here." It creates room for mutual connection, not silent expectations. And when that space opens up, something else becomes possible. You can start seeing them, not as children to mold, but as fellow souls with their own unfolding path. 6. Don't chase approval, stand in your truth. When Tom's daughter moved back home after college, things were tense. She had new opinions, new boundaries, and new critiques of how she was raised. One night, she said flatly, "Dad, you were emotionally distant when I needed you most." Tom's first instinct? Defend himself. "I was working 2 jobs. I did the best I could." But he bit his tongue. And then, he did something different. He simply replied, "I hear you." Later that night, though, he lay awake, wrestling with shame, guilt, and a strong desire to win back her approval. Here's what many parents don't realize. The craving to be seen as a good parent, to be forgiven, validated, or admired, can slowly become a trap. We try to say the right things. Avoid difficult truths. Walk on eggshells to stay in their good graces. But this constant chasing of approval? It doesn't build trust. It erodes authenticity. Let's take a deeper look. Approval is external. Truth is internal. One shifts with mood and opinion. The other grounds you in integrity. In Buddhist teachings, there's the idea of right speech and right action, doing what is honest and compassionate, without attachment to how it will be received. That doesn't mean being harsh or defensive. It means standing in your truth with kindness and clarity. Back to Tom. A few weeks later, he sat down with his daughter again. He said, "I know I missed a lot. And it hurts to know that. I won't defend my past, but I want to show up differently now. Not to be perfect. Just to be real." It wasn't a rehearsed apology. It was raw. Honest. And for the first time in a long time, she reached out and held his hand. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love. You just need to be honest. When you stop chasing approval, you begin to embody something deeper, self-respect. And your children will feel it, even if they can't name it. And once you've reclaimed your voice, there's one more step left. To let go, not of love, but of control. Let's talk about that in our final principle. 7. Practice loving detachment. Be there, without losing yourself. Marta had always been the kind of mom who showed up. Late-night phone calls? She answered. Emergency loans? She wired them. Broken hearts? She offered tissues, tea, and advice. But now, her adult son was 35. Still drifting from job to job, bouncing between relationships, and calling only when he needed something. And each time he called, Marta's heart clenched with that same old mix of hope, fear, and obligation. She wanted to help, but she also felt drained. Invisible. Lost in the identity of a mom, with no room left for Marta. This is where loving detachment comes in. It's not walking away. It's not shutting down. It's the art of being present without being consumed. Caring deeply, without carrying everything. In Buddhist philosophy, there's a word for this kind of love, upekkha, equanimity. It's the spacious love that lets others walk their path, even when that path is winding, rocky, or not what you would choose. It's saying, I'm here. I love you. And I trust you to find your way. So, what did Marta do? She stopped rescuing. She started responding with calm, grounded presence instead of panic. When her son called asking for money, she said gently, I believe in you. I trust you'll figure it out. She didn't slam the door. She just let him stand on his own. And eventually, he did. The lesson? Love doesn't mean losing yourself. It means offering the best of yourself, without needing to control the outcome. That's what adult-to-adult connection looks like. That's where real respect is born. So, if you've been wondering how to reconnect with your grown child, it's not about trying harder. It's about shifting how you show up. Let's take a breath and remember the journey we've just taken. Stop fixing, start listening, hold space, don't always fill it. Give without attachment, love them, without needing something in return. Build a life they want to be part of, invite them in, don't chase them down. Set boundaries, not barriers, protect your peace while keeping the door open. Release emotional dependency, heal yourself, so you don't place that burden on them. Don't chase approval, stand in your truth, be real, not perfect. Practice loving detachment, be present, without losing who you are. Parenting doesn't end when your child turns 18. But it does evolve. It becomes less about shaping them, and more about meeting them. Not from above, or behind, but beside. And sometimes, the most powerful way to love is simply to let go with grace. And trust that the roots you planted are still there, quietly holding strong beneath the surface. Thank you for being here. For choosing growth. For choosing love. And for being the kind of parent who's willing to begin again.